Last season, South Carolina was so close to making the college football playoffs with a 9-3 record. They lost 2 heartbreakers to LSU and Alabama and were blown out by Ole Miss in shocking fashion. Heading into the final college football rankings, the discussion was around whether Alabama, South Carolina, or SMU deserved the last spot in the playoffs. That spot would ultimately go to SMU. Heading into the season, can Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks find similar success in a stacked SEC and finally break through with not just a double-digit winning season, but their first spot in the college football playoffs? Let's talk about that. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who you think will be this year's surprise team in the comment section below. Heading into the 2024 season, there was not a lot of hype surrounding the South Carolina Gamecocks. They were coming off a disappointing 5-7 season, which was their first time regressing under head coach Shane Beamer, and had a brand new quarterback with Spencer Rattler leaving for the NFL draft. Not a lot of people were talking about the Gamecocks, as the biggest talking point around the team was the fact that Nick Harbors had 99 speed at 6'5" in the NCAA video game. According to Phil Steele, the Gamecocks were projected to finish 11th in the SEC with the third hardest schedule, drawing Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, and LSU. The one bright spot was they were returning 15 starters from the 2023 squad. The biggest question mark around the team was whether the offensive line was going to hold up and who was going to be playing quarterback for the Gamecocks. They added Robbie Ashford from Auburn and Davis Beville from Oklahoma, but the starting job would ultimately go to redshirt freshman Lenore Sellers. There was a lot of hype surrounding the former 4-star recruit when he first enrolled at South Carolina, as some felt he could end up being the greatest quarterback of all time for the Gamecocks. When he played as a true freshman, he impressed, scoring 3 touchdowns and 17 snaps in 2023. He became famous for rocking rec specs during games, quickly becoming a fan favorite. Dowell Logans focused on developing Sellers in 2023, which included intense workouts, extra reps after practice, and that was part of the maturation process, Logans said, with the goal to make him an SEC quarterback. He used tough love to prepare Sellers for what life would be like as an SEC quarterback. If he threw a pick in practice, Logans would hound him, saying, "Hey, Spencer Rattler just threw the ball 50 times in a game and didn't turn it over once. And you get one throw and you throw a pick?" The coaches raved about how nothing ever fazed him, as he was almost robotic-like. Sellers in South Carolina would not play great in their season opener against Old Dominion, a game they should have won in a blowout, but they saw themselves down with less than 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, 19-16. Sellers would put together a game-winning drive as the Gamecocks survived against the Monarchs, 23-19. They would move to 2-0 with a blowout win over Kentucky. Looked like they were on their way to making an early season statement against number 16 LSU, going up 17-0. 4 Sellers went down with an ankle injury and would not play in the second half. LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier would have 2 pick sixes called back as well on questionable calls. CBS Sports wrote after the game, LSU survived more than anything against South Carolina, bailed out by multiple questionable officiating calls, and Gamecocks quarterback Lenore Sellers not playing in the second half because of an ankle injury. LSU would come back to win 36-33, give South Carolina their first loss of the season. They would rebound with a win over Akron 50-7 before being blown out by Ole Miss at home 27-3. In a chaotic fourth quarter against Alabama, the Gamecocks would run out of magic and fall to the Crimson Tide 27-25 in Tuscaloosa. They would proceed to dominate the rest of the season besides a close win over Missouri 34-30 to head into the final week of the regular season with an 8-3 record and a matchup against in-state rival Clemson. The Gamecocks would pull off an upset 17-14 to finish the year 9-3, would not be enough. They would end up finishing ranked 14th in the playoff poll heading into the conference championship week. Shane Beamer tried to make his case on Paul Feinbaum, saying, "As far as our team goes, to me if the committee steps back and says right now at the moment, who are the 12 best teams in college football, it's hard to argue that we're not one of them in the fact that we've won 6 games in a row. I think 4 teams that we beat were ranked at the time we beat them. One of the only 3 teams in the country that could say that. Our strength of the schedule, we've gone on the road and we've won 3 times by double-digit margins of victory as well. And I just look at it as a coach. If I'm an opposing team, I see the South Carolina Gamecocks logo pop up on the bracket as the team I'm playing in the first round. I can't imagine there's many coaches and teams that would be excited to play us right now. That's just how I see it." They had finished behind 2 other 3-loss SEC teams as well as Miami. The two SEC teams they finished behind were the two of the teams that they lost to in Ole Miss and Alabama. If South Carolina would have upset Alabama as 23.5-point underdogs, or would have not gotten screwed by the officiating against LSU, they probably would have made the playoffs last year. It was a crazy season, leaving fans with a lot of what-if situations. They lose to Illinois in the Citrus Bowl 21-17 to finish the year 9-4. It was the best season under Shane Beamer, but it still felt a little disappointing on what could have been. With that being said, there's a lot of excitement surrounding this team heading into 2025. According to The Athletic, Sellers turned down an $8 million NIL deal to stay at South Carolina heading into the season. Sellers' dad told Bruce Feldman from The Athletic he was offered all kind of crazy numbers. I told him he could say, I'm going to stay or I'm going to go. By my 2 cents, it was get into college on a college scholarship, play ball, get our degree, and go on about our business. This NIL deal came later. We didn't come here to make money. We came here to get our education, play ball, and with schools calling, we're not just going to jump ship because they're offering more than what we're getting. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. He loves South Carolina and his teammates, and the Gamecock fans love him. They returned Nick Harbers, who showed flashes last year and feels poised to have a breakout season as a junior. Rocket Sanders is gone, but they added Rashawn Faison, who rushed for 1,109 yards at Utah State. Former North Texas running back Oscar Attaway also returns after rushing for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns last season. The offensive line has some questions, but improved as the season went on last year. On defense, they returned Judge Collier and Dylan Stewart, but there are question marks around the interior defensive line, linebackers, and the second cornerback spot. According to Phil Steele, South Carolina has the 4th hardest schedule in the nation as they open up the season against Virginia Tech, travel to Missouri, LSU, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M, and host Oklahoma, Alabama, and Clemson. The other games are South Carolina State, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and Coastal Carolina. According to Steele, they are projected to finish 10th in the SEC. They are favored to open up the season 4-1 or 5-0, but he believes things will fall apart with a brutal second half, with the LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, and Ole Miss games coming back to back to back to back, before a bye and closing out SEC play in College Station. According to the ESPN team of Mark Schlauback, Chris Lowe, Max Olson, Tom Luganbill, Bill Tucker, and the ESPN research department, South Carolina is one of 11 teams in the college football playoff mix. However, they label USC as a long shot. That long shot chance, based on ESPN's FBI, is 20.3%, they wrote. The Gamecocks might have a bona fide star in Sellers, but they're having to replace many of the key pieces around him, as well as several difference makers on defense. South Carolina plays a 5-game stretch, including LSU on the road, Oklahoma at home, Alabama at home, and Ole Miss on the road, and Texas A&M on the road in October and November. According to the coaches poll, the end of the season is the 13th best team in the nation. Vegas has their over-under win total at 7.5, and Sellers is the top 10 when it comes to Heisman odds. This South Carolina team will need to rely on their offense more this season with so many new pieces on defense. But with Sellers at quarterback, anything seems possible. While it's unlikely, South Carolina could find itself going through a breakout season and making the college football playoffs this year. What do you think? Will South Carolina improve on last year? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.